Lyria is going to be joining us in a few days. Some of us opted to pay early to get early access to this new hero. And whether we like it or not, her presence has reshaped what it is to be meta in this game. We can clearly see some effects already being shown in the arena and Clash of Worlds in Guild War. And in this video, we're going to discuss Lyria, a guide, if you will, on how I use her, how I would recommend she be built, and maybe some easy ways to counter this hero.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero War Central, and in this video, I want to talk about the hero Lyria and kind of give a full guide to her. All of that. If you would rather read a blog post instead of watching a video, I've got this blog post linked in the description box down below. There's a lot of table of contents here. You just click on it and you'd go to wherever you need to go. But we're going to be kind of showing off some of the things that I've learned in the 2 or 3 days that I've had Lyria unlocked to just kind of show you where she's at right now. Mine is about 114,000 power level. Of course, you add a pet, it jumps it up to like 125k power level. I'm missing 2 items, but I'm assuming I'm going to buy these items during the adventure or the event or whatever you want to call it. So I don't really worry about these too much, though I am spending my energy here just because these are generally good items. You know, the items in here, you can never have too many lycanthrope things, as it were. Skins max, the glyphs are not maxed. I'm kind of creeping towards it. It gets expensive after 40. The gift of the elements is maxed. My artifacts are not there. I spent a lot of artifacts a couple of weeks ago leveling up a couple of other heroes. So we've got a little ways to go on her. And my ascension is only in the 3rd tier, and just kind of waiting for a Ascension to Asgard event to really crank this through the rest of the way. But I thought that we would discuss a little bit about Lyria. First and foremost, if you take a look at the website, we have her maxed stats here. Now, one thing to note is this does not include the Tree of Wisdom, the Warrior Tree of Wisdom. This is the bonus stats that you get from the Warrior Tree of Wisdom. I do need to add these together and actually write them down on the page so that they're there. It's something that I probably will do a little bit later today. And before we get into it too deep, I do have a complete list of items that you need to get her from the white or freshly summoned status all the way up to red 3. If you're interested in saving up or maybe buying some items, I don't know how you would do it now because the event isn't live yet, but this is stuff you could farm for if you don't have her yet and you can't see her items. Now, taking a look at her skills, one of the most important things to note that nobody seems to really be talking about with Lyria is she only has 1 attack skill, just 1. I've seen her compared to Ching Mao, and I've seen her compared to like Ishmail and Dante and a number of other heroes, but Lyria is a warrior support, but that should be reversed. She should be a support warrior, in my opinion. She only has the 1 attack skill. Of course, she has her basic auto attacks, and this is a 45% modifier. So when it comes to how much damage she outputs, yes, this can go up to 7 hits, and it is pretty cool to see her blow up a hero. I'm going to talk about why this isn't that good whenever I talk about why she's not the teams that she should be used in a little bit later on in the video. But this can really crush some enemies. Some interesting pairings that people have found. The obvious choices are Morrigan. Morrigan has her little baby skeletons, and when the baby skeletons die, they count as souls for this ability. Elmir, Mushy, and Shroom, all of their little babies that they summon, the clones that they summon, that Elmir summons, they count as souls that die on the battlefield. So you don't have to actually lose allies in order for this skill to be good. And that was one of the big complaints that I had whenever I first saw this, is like, oh cool, her ability only is good if a couple of her allies have died. Of course, we have the blue ability, which summons 3 spirits, and these have health and can be targeted. So when these die, they count as well towards the total on this ability, right? So it's pretty nice. She's kind of self-sustaining in that regard, but still low physical attack barrier, and we'll talk about more on her damage dealing capabilities a little bit later. The Bonds of Alliance will give vampirism to the ally with the highest physical attack. It's always fun to have a balancing act with your team on which heroes have the highest. If you're using Nebula, that could change. If you're using artifact weapons, that, probably doesn't change because everybody has the same physical attack bonus. If you have a hero that can ramp up the physical attack, there is one or two, then that could be a consideration. Depending on the pet that you apply to a hero on your team, that could change who has the highest physical attack. The only bonus that the undead allies get is a bonus to physical attack, and that's 10k bonus physical attack. 10k is a lot, but it's really not that much, right? Take a look at an artifact weapon, for example, how much that can give you. My Kark gives, 33,000 bonus physical attack whenever he uses his artifact weapon. So worth noting there. And then this ability, which I actually think is going to end up being the most impactful for the most people, the Children of the Grave, is one that takes enemies out of the combat, out of the fight for 10 seconds or until the spirit's health is depleted. This is a fun ability that, it allows you to target the highest damage output enemy and take them out of the fight for a little while. And you want the spirits to die, but you also want the spirits to annoy that enemy champion for a little while, at least to reduce the damage to your team. But once they do die, it adds to your ult's capability. There's some weird timing, some wonky timing with all of that, but just know that this will deplete itself once you use it. It's kind of an annoying feature. And then finally, the penultimate ability, the passive ability that everybody seems to really, really be focusing on, and they should, but not for the reason that you think, the ability to block the dodge stat. Now again, 19,450, this is without pets, this is without patterns, this is without the any additional skins, this is without the Tree of Wisdom, the Warrior Tree of Wisdom leveled up. 19,450, we already know that her current 5-star max, if you only have her to 5-star, it's around 22,000 dodge reduction, without pets, without patterns, all of that. So we know the Tree of Wisdom does add a good amount of dodge reduction, and she is getting a physical attack skin, I want to say when the event starts, but she's missing a lot of her skins. We'll talk more about that in just a second as well. 20k dodge reduction is not quite 100% dodge reduction on every hero. There are two. The first is the one that everybody cares about, and that is Dante. When Dante uses his Foresight ability at max, like mine obviously is not at max because I don't like Dante at all, but whenever you have a maxed Dante and you use the Foresight ability without the artifact weapon, not counting the artifact weapon, this pushes the dodge for Dante up to close to 30,000, okay? And that is, again, before patterns and pets and all of that is added in. So, Kane, for example, adds about 3k more dodge. So there is that. But roughly 30k dodge, just baseline without any extra outside interference. So the 20k reduces it to 10k, which is still less than, everybody's main stat. And the way that dodge works, a nice, fast, quick method in your head to do the math on how dodge works is if dodge equals main stat, then it's a 50% chance. And most heroes that are maxed, and we're talking about maxed versus maxed, most heroes that are maxed have 15 to 18,000 main stat. You can see that my Aurora has 17,000 main stat. My Kark here has 18,000 main stat. My Ninja Turtles that's maxed has 20,000 main stat. So, you need, with only 10k dodge, it's, let's call it like a 30% chance to dodge, but still, there's some changes that can happen in there, and it really only is above this ability whenever Dante's green ability is live. So that's the first hero, and the other hero is Yasmin. Now, Yasmin has this Assassin's Instinct green ability. Critical hit chance and dodge are increased by basically 40,000 whenever this ability is, whenever her ult is active. So Yasmin is a hero that's going to be completely immune, not completely, but very, very strong still against Lyria, because her base dodge, like my Yasmin isn't maxed. I've got a couple of skins left to level up. The dodge skin in particular, I still have a little bit to, let's just put a couple right there, no big deal. And her dodge is only 11k, right? It's one of the lower dodges baseline. I guess it's just her glyph, her skin that I'm obviously missing a ton of stats there, but yeah, whenever she uses her ult, if she uses her ult, because you got to get there while surviving, it basically makes her 30,000 in the green with dodge, as it were. So very strong dodge counter to heroes closer to the front of the enemy team. Of course, the more undead allies you have, the bigger of the dodge reduction aura. It's going to be really good if you're trying to get a Dante or a Heidi like in the 3rd or the 4th position. There are a couple of backline heroes that dodge, like Jet, for example, that you might want to really get a hold of. But this is really where her main utility lies. But I think that eventually this is going to be what we care about the most. Because, once Dante's popularity dies, and the only reason why he's popular is because he's kind of a broken mechanic right now. Once that dies off, then I think this ability will be the better choice. So, what are the best Lyria teams? And this is one of the things that a lot of people have really been asking about. And in my opinion, there's 3 styles of teams that you can use with Lyria. The most obvious and the most important for today, maybe not in 6 months or even a month from now, the most important is going to be the one that counters the Dante, Gustus, Orion meta. And this one shows Aurora here, but I just, at the top of the video, I just did a fight. Here we go. Yeah, this one right here. I just did a fight attacking into, well, this one's weird. Why do you have Fenris on your Dante? That's very weird. Here, let's just throw together a quick max testing. The Orion, Augustus, Dorian pets, they change depending on how you feel that day, but this is kind of one of the ways to go about it. Excuse me. The team that everybody should be considering to use against this line is Lyria, and I really like Corvus a lot, but you don't have to use Corvus. You can use another tank because you'll see it doesn't really matter, and you can use just about any healer so long as they're in the back. I'm just going to use Dorian for fun. We're just going to stick with Axel. So Albus, let's see, Axel, Oliver, okay. And what's really cool about this is the vampirism that Sebastian gains. Sometimes it's going to be Corvus, depending on who's still alive. This is max testing, so, absolute max. My Axel isn't this, my Isaac isn't this high, my Sebastian isn't this high, my Lyria isn't this high, but this is going to give you kind of an idea at the top end what you're dealing with. And by the way, this is missing a lot of stats on Lyria. She only has the 1 skin. She's going to gain the health skin, she's going to gain another physical attack skin, but this is kind of the main team that you're going to see and that you should see, and you should use Lyria in as a support hero, almost a counter hero, if you will. And that is going to be to counter this main line right here, or any line like this that uses Aurora or Qingmao, Nebula as a tank in the first position. If you don't see Gus Orion on the team and you see Dante, like a Dante, Nebula, Iris something line, then you just swap out your Sebastian and Isaac, or maybe your Isaac and your Corvus for whatever other heroes work well against that team. If you're looking for a nice baseline to go with it, then this one isn't going to be bad. Like, generally, every team has some kind of magic damage, but not always. And Isaac magic armor penetration plus Lyria armor penetration, causes Corvus to do a lot of damage. So not a bad, and Lyria for what it's worth as well. It's going to vary depending on who the top damage dealer is. So then you take a look at some of the lines where you're not necessarily using her to counter a dodge team, but you're using her as kind of like a damage dealer. Okay, the team on the right here is one that I have seen a couple of times pop up. You got Julius, Lyria, Sebastian, Lara, and Fafnir on defense. You've seen this a little bit on defense on some of the servers, and there's no undead here. So there's no undead synergy. There's no dodge potentially attacking in, although Ishmael kind of dodges, but not really when it comes to Lyria. So you shouldn't build this kind of team. Yes, it's fun and interesting and new, and the only reason why it's successful is because people don't know how to counter Lyria yet, but that's going to change in like 2 days. So if you're seeing people suggest a team like this, the tank's going to vary, the other supports are going to vary a little bit, it's a mistake. And I'm going to tell you why in just a second, but first I'm going to say a disclaimer about all of these teams. If you enjoy them, then build them, okay? No matter what I say, if you enjoy how they look and how they interact and all of that, then you should build them, okay? They may not be the best team, but the best team doesn't exist in Hero Wars, so might as well have fun with it. Like, if you really like the interaction of Lara and Lyria in this instance because of the physical attack binding, the bonus vampirism that she gets, even though it's only 20%, it's go right ahead. Who am I to tell you how to have fun, right? The other thing is this will change in the future. Today, this team is not a great team. It's just not. It's okay if all you see on attack are dodge teams. All of a sudden, you can't attack into this team with a dodge team. You got to come up with another idea, right? But the problem with Lyria today, as it is right now, is the fact that she doesn't have most of her stats. So take a look at an attacking hero, Dante. Dante's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 skins. Okay. Other common attacking hero, Ishmael, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 cosmetics and 6 skins worth of stats. Right. Another attacking hero. Let's look at Orion. Orion's a very popular hero right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 skins. Right. That's a lot of bonus stats. 10k armor, magic penetration, 10k health, or 100k health. Excuse me. 10k armor, 10k magic defense, 10k magic attack. Right. And you look at Lyria. Whoops. You look at Lyria. She has 1 skin, and that's her default skin. Now, we know that her first skin that she's going to get is a physical attack skin, and we think that that skin is coming in the Lyria event that's coming on May 12th. But even then, that's still 2 skins. So it's going to be a year to 2 years before Lyria gets all of her stats. Before she gets all of her stats. So using her as an attack hero, I think is a mistake. I think it's important to have her leveled up because to counter dodge and all of that, but using her to building a team around her as an attack hero, especially because she only has the 1 attack skill. Like this skill does damage. This skill is a healing and bonus attack skill. This right here is a control ability that does no damage. This right here counters dodge, which is good against specifically dodge teams. Her artifact weapon is armor penetration, but you have much better armor penetration heroes. For example, Morrigan, Ching Mao, you have Isaac. There's a bunch of armor penetration bonus champion heroes, and we're not really hurting for armor penetration in 2025 anyway. She's just not going to be on the level of the other attacking heroes for a while. And if you're counting on her to just clear out entire waves of enemies, it's just not going to be what you think it's going to be. And then the other argument, the other team that you're going to see a lot of people trying, we have the counter team that we just that I showed you here, right? Countering dodge Orion Augustus teams or any other dodge team. You have the team that's just like whatever. It's just this team with a bunch of other heroes in it. No undead, no dodge, counter dodge synergy whatsoever. And then you're going to see like the pure undead teams. And the thing about the pure undead teams is they're not really that good. And there's some variation of let me pull out Kira. There's some variation of these 3. Maybe you use Morgan, and Morgan is good. Maybe you use Phobos. Phobos is okay in a couple of situations. Maybe you just use these 3 and then you throw in like Sebastian and Nebula or something like that. But you actually can't use... I don't think you can use Sebastian Nebula, because I think if you did Sebastian Nebula like this, I think Sebastian, every time that the Nebula, the equilibrium boosts Sebastian, if you have like Albus or Fenris, you wouldn't do Fenris because you want Fenris for Lyria. Every time you have, anytime Nebula is buff, will buff Sebastian because the buff goes back and forth, then Lyria's vampirism ability will switch to him instead. Of course, it's an active ability. It's not active all the time. It's not a passive ability that's active all the time. It's an active ability that's cast every now and then in the fight. This is a fun team, and again, don't let me stop you from having fun. It's a fun team, but it's just, I think again, Lyria needs a few more skins, and it doesn't counter a lot of the popular teams in the meta right now. It might do well on your server. Arguably, Nebula and Sebastian, we can't even have them as part of the discussion. So I'm not even going to say arguably, because they should be leveled up anyway. You should level up Nebula. I'm sorry, you should level up Lyria for the counter dodge. Leveling up Kira in favor of another hero that does well against Osh or Maestro, or leveling up Kira instead of Isaac or Sebastian or Nebula. Leveling up Kira instead of, I don't know. If you love Kira, go right ahead. she's got some downsides. We're not going to discuss them in this video. Her damage output isn't as high as it could be, as it used to be, and she relies on a specific kind of team on defense. And I just don't think the undead team is as good as a lot of people say they are. I got a whole video linked in the description box down below why I think the undead team is an absolute trap and should be avoided. Maybe whenever Lyria gets a couple more skins, maybe. I don't know. But those are kind of the 3 teams that I see her being used in. Personally, I'm using her as a counter dodge, support control hero, and that's it. That's all. Now, as far as countering Lyria, if you see Lyria on defense, I already showed you one way to counter her. Let's find this again. If you see Lyria on defense, one of the most interesting counters that I've found so far is Kark. You know, she has one of the lowest healths of all heroes that are available right now, and you know, if you use the right team, she just dies very quickly. You have to kind of hide her in the 3rd position, and that's okay if you do that, but Kark will hit the 3 enemies with the lowest health, which is basically always going to be Kark. You can see that 2 of them hit the spirits, but the 3rd one did actually go in and attack something else on the enemy team. You want to play in manual mode, obviously, so you don't attack the spirits, but I'm finding a lot of luck using Kark. I wouldn't recommend you level up Kark specifically for Lyria. I just don't think it's really that necessary. Any big, slow physical attacker should do really well against Lyria. I also showed a more common counter is going to be kind of the same lineup, but using Ishmael instead. Ishmael's evasion ability that he has is not countered by Lyria. There's a lot of math and everything that's gone into that, but Ishmael doesn't actually have a dodge. He evades or he causes you to miss based on his Ascension skill. If you are interested in leveling up a strong, frontline attacker, Ishmael is one of the best that's not named Ching Mao. Doesn't rely on dodge, just kind of goes into it. Of course, Ishmael is pretty easy to counter with some armor artifacts and a couple of other things, so you're going to have some issues. The same problems that Kark has, by the way. But big, thick damage dealers are one way to go about it. I'm also having a lot of luck with Iris, Dorian, Heidi lines against a couple of different Lyria setups. Not this one. IDH in particular isn't good against this line right here. You just lose too much damage to the stuns and the controls and everything, and you have to use your own Sebastian. But yeah, I found Lyria being in the midline. Anybody that attacks the midline is a good opportunity also. But there will be more and more counters depending on what teams people end up trying to use with Lyria. They're gonna vary a lot, but generally speaking, the team is just too slow. So a lot of the blender teams that don't use dodge, so not Ching Mao blender, but like Ishmael blender or maybe even Kira blender would work. I don't know. Let's try Kira blender real quick. So Sebastian, or actually Yasmin blender. I bet Yasmin blender works really good. Let's try that. She probably done Team Pet Kane actually. Yeah. The thing about Lara Croft in the 4th position, if your Sebastian is in the 3rd position and is using an attack pet, your O-Discerning is going to go off before theirs does. But yeah, now that Yasmin's ulted once, her dodge is just out of this world unbelievable. I think that one of the most interesting things is that Yasmin might be making a huge comeback because of this. Of course, there's a lot of counter heroes, and another really popular hero that people are going to be leveling with Lyria is going to be Corvus, which is one of the hard counters for Yasmin. But yeah, looks like we got this well in hand. Of course, Nebula is taking an absolute beating. Oh, just kidding. Just kidding. Well, okay. I don't know if that was luck or how that was. Let's see. Let's see if we have a good, not a good win rate. Anyway, moving on to pet choices for Lyria. There are only 3 pet choices for Lyria. You have Fenris, you have Oliver, and you have Biscuit. The obvious choice is going to be Fenris, okay? The big reason why you're using Lyria is for the dodge reduction. The higher physical attack that she has, the more dodge that's going to be reduced. That is what you got. That's what you use right there. Bonus physical attack, bonus armor penetration, away you go. Oliver, good runner-up choice. That bonus health, look at that. 100,000 bonus health. That is what you're going to use if you're trying to take advantage of her blue ability, Children of the Grave. Okay, the one that will basically paralyze the enemy that does the most damage. That's going to be the pet to use there. Biscuit's not a really good choice for her at all. It's better than you know, it's better than nothing, right? It's better than nothing, but the patron ability, the attacks made by the owner reduce the healing received by the enemy. She only has the 1 attack, and it's her ultimate. It is 7 attacks. Biscuit is like the worst pet you could put on Lyria. You just don't really take much advantage of it. The magic attack and the armor is nice that you gain, but you know, she's not, you don't really consider her like a tanky hero. I mean, it's okay to have everybody not be that tanky. So yeah, that's kind of the pet. Fenris by a long shot is going to be the best. Oliver shortly in second place, and then Biscuit far last. As far as flags are concerned, the obvious choice is going to be the war flag of Swift Warriors, right? Increasing her basic attack rate of fire, if you will, lowering the cooldown on her other abilities. You know, her control ability and her bond ability, where she gives vampirism and bonus physical attack to undead allies, increasing by 5%. Always a good choice. Always a good choice. And the patterns, these are also really straightforward. 100% you're going to want physical attack for her. Now, is it going to be the best for your team? Is the war flag of warriors going to be best for your team? Maybe, maybe not. But for Lyria specifically, you want physical attack for sure. Why not throw in minus 15% dodge? You might not need it as she gets more skins, you know, as you see less and less Dantes and Qing Maos and all of that in your meta. You might not need that anymore, but 15% at base, like it can go up to 22%, but 15% is pretty nice at the red base. And then, you know, since you're kind of using her to counter physical teams, dodge teams, an armor pattern probably fine. If you're not needing that bonus armor because you're just staying alive, and you will just stay alive as she gets leveled up a little bit more. Maybe a magic defense, maybe armor penetration for more offense, but definitely physical attack, definitely dodge reduction. So that's it. Here in a couple of hours, we're going to learn more about Lyria and the event when the live stream goes live, the official live stream goes live. I will be playing live as well on my own live stream, 12 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. UTC. Let me know if you have any other questions about Lyria. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.